Hello, everybody, and welcome to this conversation about how to make your business more attractive for investment. So today I'm joined by David from Panoramic, and we're going to be discussing some factors about how you can get your business ready for investment and make it more attractive for investment. But before we get onto that conversation, I thought I would introduce myself. So my name is Simon Batchelor, and I'm a marketing consultant and the co-founder of the marketing consultancy Pallant. And we specialize in doing business lead generation, websites, ads, and also SEO for engineering, manufacturing, and technical businesses. So, David, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Simon. My name is David Atkinson. I'm one of the partners at Panoramic Growth Equity. We invest in SMEs up and down the country. We invest between £2 to £8 million in any one company. Companies of any sector, but those which are doing over £500,000 of profit. We're currently investing our third fund, which is £100 million in size, and trying to find interesting businesses to deploy that capital.
Excellent. Thanks very much. So I thought we'd kick off the conversation by just sort of outlining when you're looking at a business and trying to make a decision about whether it is a company that you'd like to invest in, whether you could talk about some of the sort of considerations you make, some of the factors that you see as being kind of good indicators that this is a business that's ready for investment.
Yeah, sure. So I guess for us, it probably starts with a defensible product or service that the business is doing a really good job of serving its customers with. It's operating in some form of niche. Obviously, some barriers to entry is great to help kind of stem the competition. We look closely at the relationship that the company has with its customers and suppliers, ensuring that the key stakeholders of the business are happy and going to stay with the company after we've invested and hopefully grow with the company. And I guess we look at the level of cash generation. Clearly it's fundamental to any investment is the track record in generating cash. And finally, and most importantly, it's probably for us quality of management. An individual or team of people in that business who are just very good at what they do, very passionate, who want to continue to do that with our partnership and hopefully lead to something bigger and better in the future.
So would you say there is a particular time at which you look to invest in a business? Do you see there's often a point in a business journey where a business is more ready for investment?
Yeah, that's a good question, really. I think that it does differ. Each transaction we do is very, very different. And there's probably no one particular point in time. For the type of investing that we do, which is typically succession or retirement funding on one hand or equity release on another, it's usually when the business owner of the SME is ready for retirement and wants to hand that business on to the next generation of management who are working underneath him, and we help fund that transaction to enable the owner to retire and the next generation to come through and own a business alongside us and grow it. So, those transactions were possibly in the past funded by the banks, but they are kind of less enthusiastic about doing that now. So that's how we have our place in the market. And then secondly to that, you may have a one or two individuals who have built a business up, have all their wealth tied to that business. But the business is great, but clearly, you want to diversify and ensure that you have your wealth spread across, different things. So we buy stakes in businesses to help the founders or the owners to diversify their wealth, and then we partner with them to grow. Other than that, I think that for growth funding, which is slightly different, I think it's being able to exploit a particular product that they have created or opportunity in the market that requires additional funding. And we can provide kind of growth funding on top of the other type of funding that I mentioned. But the timing is really probably to try and exploit something either in the market or with a particular investment in people or in machinery to make something happen for that business.
So in terms of those factors you spoke about earlier that you're looking for when you're thinking about a company to invest in, is there one area that you often see where businesses are slightly less ready for investment, or maybe businesses that you kind of see actually more often than not, there's a couple of areas that are sort of less well developed, shall we say, than others?
Yeah, absolutely. We're an SME as well, so we kind of fully appreciate that, small businesses like our own, we're not going to have all bases covered all the time because we appreciate that, you're operating with limited resources, and also you're directing your resources into where you can achieve maximum results, aren't you? So, we're all from a finance background. So I'd say that the biggest area is probably in finance, which is great for us because we can help very quickly to kind of improve that area of the business. I guess other than that, sales and marketing is always a challenge because the competition is tough out there, and it's hard to win new business. Interestingly, more recently, I think in the last couple of years, we've seen a real increase in focus in HR and ensuring that the employees are as best as they can be in terms of training and incentivization and happy and motivated, because hiring new staff is incredibly difficult at the moment. So there's definitely increased focus on trying to improve that area of the business as well. We have around 15 businesses in the portfolio at the moment, and there's not one of them that would say that it's easy to hire people and retain them. So that's a really critical for business success, I think.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We do hear that a lot from businesses we speak to, that actually the staff they have are one of the big assets, particularly in sort of engineering manufacturing, because often there's the sort of engineering side of it, which is the process, and unless that is a sort of proprietary process, actually that is potentially fairly repeatable. But one of the things that makes it really difficult to copy or to compete with is actually the team that they've built around that process, and therefore their sort of approach. And I think one of the other things that we found in terms of conversations we have when people come to us, particularly with the sort of sales and marketing side, is that they've identified that if they're going to be exiting the business, or they're going to be moving on from running the business, that actually potentially they've grown the business to where it is based on their network. So they realize that actually if they're going to be able to pass that on, they need to get to a point where that sales pipeline isn't dependent on them necessarily. And that's where we can help, because that's where we can sort of help diversify that pipeline. So we find that there's either sort of people looking to exit need to diversify, but also people who've got to a certain stage and then they're saying, well, we work with everybody in our network already. So if we're going to grow this business, we need to diversify. We need to get in front of some new people. And that, again, is quite a common thing that we see, particularly when people are looking to either gain investment to scale or just looking to grow the business beyond where it is now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Simon. Yeah, it's fundamental to have, for you as business owner, not to be doing everything yourself, and ensuring that you're training up that next tier of management who one day will be able to take business forward when you want to retire. Yeah, for sure. It's critical, across the whole business, including sales and marketing.
So one other question I wanted to ask was, do you think there's one area of the business that you wish maybe business owners were paying more attention to before they went out to seek investment? Is there something that you kind of quite often see, an area that's overlooked or maybe underdeveloped, that you're sort of seeing consistently in businesses that come to you for investment?
Certainly the finance function, whilst you don't need a kind of fully fledged team of people operating in finance, I think that to give investors the confidence to invest, you need to have good financial information, which is prepared in a timely manner and is accurate. That's really fundamental for any investor or bank who might be looking at the business. So ensuring that your financial information is up to date and in good order, I think is really important. With that, I'd say that, again, it comes back to some of that delegation and in management, and ensuring that the business's bases are covered across different people, and it's not just you that holds all the customer contacts or the contacts with suppliers. That's probably quite important as well. And probably after that, the biggest thing that we see is just control of costs, particularly at the moment where everyone's struggling and finding it difficult with inflation and things going up in price. Having really kind of rigorous controls and keeping very close attention to costs, I think very, very important. And we find that over time, businesses that have done a good job of that and acted quickly where necessary tend to be the ones that succeed.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. I think that's a really interesting area, and one that I'm sure a lot of businesses are looking to get more in control of, especially at the moment with the sort of uncertainty of different supply chains and cost bases. Well, thank you very much for sharing those answers today, David. If people are wondering how they can get in touch with you to discuss some of the services that you offer, how's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
We can be contacted on team@pgequity.com. We have newsletter sign-ups on the website as well. And you can find my email address and contact details on the website, which is pgequity.com.
Thanks very much. And if you're thinking that you'd like to get in touch with me about anything that I've spoken about in terms of marketing, in terms of making that pipeline more secure and more attractive for investment, then you can find us at pallant.studio. And you can also find us on LinkedIn. Just search for either my name or David's name on LinkedIn and connect with us there. So thanks very much for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time.